Hello everyone, it's Crazy Mike 1706. If you notice that there is a slight difference in the camera angle, it's because I got a new monitor, so they had to change a couple of things around. Me and my friend Dan, also known as Calvin 8 Hobbs, we most of the time have very in-depth pro wrestling conversations, and we have spoke about this tons of times, and it has to do with perception and how you see things in professional wrestling and in life as a whole. And I'm going to give out many examples outside professional wrestling and then get to the topic at hand so the argument can be furthermore understood. Now, let's assume you're walking with your friends, right? And you're being told that the man walking on the opposite side is gay when really he's a straight man. Now, because you're being told that he's gay, most likely all the actions that that person may do, all the normal actions, you may see it as a homosexual action, and then it'll, further make you believe that the person is gay when really it's not the case at all. And I'm gonna give you another guys a great example, and this is a true story. Believe me, guys, a true story. We had a friend, right, and we had I think it was apple cider. Yeah, it was a bottle of apple cider, but it came in like a wine design. So we told him, he said, dude, there's some good wine right here, it'll get you messed up. And the great thing about it is that you won't even taste the alcohol, it'll just taste like pure juice. And I swear to you guys that my friend got drunk, okay? Now you're wondering, how the hell can you possibly get drunk off apple cider? Here's what happened. Because he thought he was drinking an alcoholic beverage, he was able to convince himself that he was drunk even though he wasn't. It's almost like a placebo. Sometimes you'll think you're sick and the doctor will know that you're not really sick, so they'll give you medicine which actually isn't medicine to make yourself feel better when really you was never given any sort of medication. That's how powerful the human mind is, guys. Trust me. How does this relate to pro wrestling? Let's get to the subject at hand, shall we? Okay, if you are watching any company, okay, doesn't matter which one, and you don't have a neutral standpoint on it, it can create major problems. Because what happens is, if you hate a show before you even watch it, if you criticize it heavily before you even know what it's about, everything is going to be negative to you. Of course, you're not going to see nothing good in it. Now, you can make the argument, well, it's possible that you don't have high hopes going into a show, but then after you finish watching it, you like the product a lot better, which is true. But that is completely different from just hating it from the jump, hating it before watching it. And this is when the word bias comes out, because oftentimes you'll see people hating one company for doing one thing and another company doing the same exact thing. Why? Because they've already conditioned themselves. They already, told themselves that they're going to hate it even before they watch it. One of my friends, he was talking about how he hated the Dragon Gate show because he felt it was a fireworks show. And I told him, I said, dude, you hated the show even before you saw it. You hated the show when it was first announced. You hated the show just because it was booked by a guy that you don't like. Naturally, you're not going to like the show. Hello, it's common sense. It's human nature, you know what I mean? When I was in Houston, Texas, me, Bill and Doug, we brought up the term conditioning, and how it plays a role the way professional wrestling fans see professional wrestling. Back then, Undertaker was doing, a little bit of that MMA stuff, but it didn't really get over with the crowd because it was like, okay, what is he doing? They didn't really pop too much for it. Now, if the Undertaker puts on an MMA hold, fans are going crazy. Why? Because we're living in the MMA era, and now they're being more conditioned to believe that MMA is a great sport, and because MMA and wrestling go so hand in hand. That's why you'll see now that the fans start popping when the Undertaker starts putting on an MMA hold. Other examples that I really want to get into. Do you guys ever notice how people say, oh, ECW was a legendary company, Ric Flair is the greatest of all time, Bret Hart is one of the best technical wrestlers? Guess why most of the E fans say these things? Take 2 seconds. I explain to you why right now. Notice how Ric Flair was promoted as one of the greatest wrestlers of all time by the WWE. Notice how Bret Hart was promoted as one of the best technical wrestlers by the WWE. Notice how ECW was promoted as one of the greatest companies by the WWE. And this is why a lot of pro wrestling fans have these thoughts on it. If it wasn't promoted the way it was, trust me, most of these fans will not think that way. And onto the whole topic of a lot of smart marks and how New York fans, you know, were arrogant and whatnot. The fact of the matter is that most companies are scared of the indie fans. See, even though the indie fans are small, you know, we contribute a lot to the world of professional wrestling, so that's why I feel that we should have a voice, because we don't watch just the smaller companies. We try to watch as much wrestling as possible, and we're not just people that, okay, watch the mainstream, hate it, and then complain about it all the time. And again, I do feel we have a lot of influence on the casual fans, because a lot of us, the indie crowds, when we start hating a certain wrestlers, you know, a lot of the casual fans start catching up on that. And companies like they like to brainwash their fans. They like to brainwash their fans into believing that the crappy guys that they're watching in the ring is the greatest thing ever. Again, back to conditioning, back to the way fans perceive things as told by the company, as told by their masters. So I really am hoping that, you know, you guys really understood a lot of the points that I was trying to make in this vid. Anyway, it's been Crazy Mike. Horns up.